Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I believe this is really important because I'm doing a continuation of what we've been speaking about for the last couple of weeks on this 3-eye atlas. I pray that you will continue to join me on this because this is God Yahweh Most High giving you a perspective, a view of what's up ahead so you can plan your lives and your family's lives according to His will and His purposes. And I think a lot of you might not realize it, but you are actually getting information that millions of people are not really getting. And it's not coming from me, it's coming from the Most High. He's giving me this information to make you privy to it so you as His holy chosen people will walk in faith and obedience and not be afraid. Because, hey, without light, how can you walk? You can't walk if you're walking in darkness. So let's get on to it today. First, I want to start off though, because He impressed this upon my mind to speak to you a little bit about Him, Okay. And so what I want to talk to you today is, here's something that helps you know if you're one of the chosen that God is actually calling out and wanting you to come out. There's a few things we sort of miss in this religious kind of Christianity. And one of them is helping one another. He spoke this to me last night. He said, helping one another is the key to life. When you bring souls together and they are one heart, one mind, and one spirit, that means you giving up just trying to be, I want to be an individual. I want to be, put up on a pedestal like we've taught in Babylon, in the Babylonian system. Always wanting to be viewed as the top rung of the ladder, right? That doesn't work in God's kingdom and the kingdom that He's bringing back to the earth. It has to be a mutual love, a mutual trust, a mutual helping of one another, because when you're helping one another, you're actually building the kingdom of heaven up on the earth. So that is one check mark. He's saying helping one another is the key to life. And it goes on to explain how when a saint is truly walking with the Most High, this is another sign and symbol that you're actually walking with the Most High. It's how you treat the poor, the needy, the oppressed, the brokenhearted. If you have a heart for the poor, the brokenhearted, the outcast, the needy, then Yahweh is dwelling in you. That is pure love. That's not the worldly kind of love. That's pure love. And these are the people He wants to bring back to His holy land and His holy temple in Jerusalem. Those kind of people that don't have a problem with seeing their brother hurting and something in their heart says, I got to do what I can. I don't have much myself, but I'm going to seek the Lord about it and do something for my brothers and sisters. That's how it works. Now, in Psalms 105:11, he speaks about Jerusalem. Now, the third thing is Jerusalem, what they call Jerusalem. If I don't care about Jerusalem and I don't care about returning to it and my life, I'm planning my, getting out of America, yeah, but I got my business I'm lining up and my entrepreneurship, and I'm going to one of the African countries, you might be on the wrong track because yes, God wants you to come out and He's leading us to different places. Some of the places might be in Africa. Some of the places might be in Asia. But if we're going with that same Babylonian system that it's about business, it's about dollars and cents, it's about me making me a new business and my degrees and what I have, I'm going to make it parlay, and you on the wrong track. Because guess what? Like it says in the Word, the early Christians helped one another. Nobody was lacking. Nobody was in need. Everybody had things in kind. I've spoken on that before in another video. Everyone shared what they had, and nobody was poor and nobody was in need. It didn't say nothing about no business. It didn't say nothing about, building you a new a business out here in another country. It said everyone shared what they had. So if you can get these three things, or these three things are already in your mind and your heart and your spirit, you are one of the chosen. You're one of the ones called out and prepared to return to Jerusalem, to God's holy temple. And I'm going to tell you some things that we don't quite understand what's up ahead when that place gets finally cleared out, prepared for God's holy chosen people. There's some benefits that many people don't talk about. Pastors don't talk about. And when you read it, you just skim over it because it's like, oh, that's unbelievable. You know, that only the man can give us what we need, and really we can be halfway happy. Halfway love, halfway happy. That's America. That's Babylon. Halfway. You never really get everything. You never feel comfortable, at peace. But in Isaiah 30, verse 19 through 23, watch what it says. Let me get this right. It's basically letting you know that there's some benefits. It's not just about fleeing Babylon. It's about where you're going and what's up ahead and what you're going to receive for your obedience and for your placing your trust and your hope in Yahweh instead of those who smote or destroyed you, right? That's in the word too. Now, in Isaiah 30, it says, yes, people of Zion, you will live in Jerusalem and weep no more. He, Yahweh, will be gracious to you. When he hears your cry, when he hears, he will answer. When the Lord has given you the bread of suffering and the water of distress, he who is your teacher will hide no longer, and you will see your teacher with your own eyes. You probably never noticed that. You're going to see the Most High with your own eyes. You ain't going to be dead. You're going to be still alive. You're going to see him with your own eyes. As in the days when Moses was bringing the children of Israel out. They heard him. They heard his voice. Moses and the elders he let them see part of what he was and who he was in real time. So everything is going back to that time when you, as the holy chosen people who have been obedient, who came out when he called, or is in right now coming out, you are going to receive some blessings. And one of those blessings also is, it says in Isaiah 33:20, no one living there will say, I am sickly. And another place it says that you're going to be living as long as trees, like, the older trees who live hundreds of years. So we know then there's some blessings and some benefits to obeying the Most High Yahweh. And I just felt in my heart, he was speaking to me last night. He said, I want you to remind my people. To me, my people, he said, are like prodigal sons. They drifted off. They went after the pagans, the European Gentiles. They had everything at one time. They had everything. They were powerful. They could call on heaven, and heaven would come down and fight their battles. As in the days of Hezekiah, when they called on him and he killed 185,000 of the Assyrian camp. Everybody woke up and everybody was dead. So we had the power, but what we did is we kept listening to the pagan Gentiles. We kept looking at them and emulating them and being jealous of how they lived sinful lives. And eventually, like a prodigal son, we got led astray off into darkness. And then we lost everything we had, but we're going to get all of those things back. But it's going to be in Jerusalem. And that's why in that first piece I told you, one of the keys is something in your heart won't let you forget Jerusalem. You think about it. You care about it. You know there's war and stuff going on, but you have this desire. One day I want to see it, even though maybe you haven't been there before. You haven't visited. Like I said in my other video, I've been there a couple of times. And it just sticks with you. It's something that keeps pulling you towards her. That's that seal of the saints. That it won't let you forget God. It won't let you forget his laws. He's drawing you back. You're awakened now. And Jerusalem and caring about the poor and the needy is part of who you are, right? Okay, now let's get back to our progressive updates about what God Yahweh is trying to prepare you for. Now, we know that the Bible is telling us that, at the end times, Babylon would fall. And, in the word, it also tells you about how the Medes and the Persians would be a great part of that falling. But I think there needs to be some clarity here. what's going to happen is it's all happening sort of simultaneously. You have America in the West, who is basically falling from within. He wants her to fall from within because so she won't have an excuse and say, oh, this country came and did this. Okay, so the Medes and the Persians have already been activated. You notice they're already warring against the other half of America. We call it Israel, modern Israel, but really it's just an extension of America, and America is an extension of it. It's like a, like it's like one entity, but in two different places, right? America is Satan's throne and his kingdom, and of course the temple, his temple, the synagogue of Satan, right, is in Jerusalem. Yeah, it would be there because he knows that's actually Yahweh Most High's throne. So we talked about that before in another video, we won't get into it. But the point is, you got two places where God is working on simultaneously bringing down. And so for modern Israel, it's the Medes and the Persians have been activated. And there's war. And it's like Netanyahu just can't stop tripping over himself, seemingly making worse and worse mistakes, drawing the Medes and the Persian out of their slumber into war, right? It's all God's plan, you see. So the Medes and the Persians have all been activated. They are not the ones that are going to bring down Babylon, however. Babylon is going to be brought down. Watch this. And one thing I want to clear up before I get into this. A lot of us, when we hear Assyria and we hear Babylon, some of us, we think that's two different places, which it was. Assyria was, well, they're all the same people. They were just in different locations in Mesopotamia, right? Assyria, ancient Assyria, was up in the northern area of Mesopotamia. Babylon was in the southern portion. They were all the same people. They were Akkadian, had same language and all that. Just two, different areas. So now, what you need to understand is that a lot of times when you see God talking about Assyria as in future tense, it's still talking about Babylon. It's still talking about the people, the European pagans who rule in America. He considers that Assyria as well. They were the same people. They just did different things at different times against the Hebrews. Okay, so now we're going to talk to you about that. We're going to get that clarified so you can understand what we're getting ready to say next. Okay, so in Isaiah 31, 7 through 8, watch this. This is how you know America's going to be took down, not by another kingdom, not by another nation. That's just the rumblings of the end. It's going to be took down by a hand that's more than human. Watch this. Okay, we're going to read in that right now. It says, and we're reading in Isaiah 31, 7 through 8. It says, yes, that day every one of you will throw away the silver idols and gold idols which you have made with your guilty hands. Assyria will fall by a sword that is not man's, will be devoured by a sword that is more than human. He will flee before the sword. Now that's telling you right there that, okay, this modern Babylon, this last Babylon, will be destroyed from something else, something different, something that even in those times was unheard of. What is it that it's going to be destroyed by? And these videos that I've been giving you in the last 2 to 3 weeks about 3-eye Atlas is the key to it all. That is the key to it all. Of course, God is already helping it to fall little by little before that even jumps off. But the main part of the falling and the distress and the destruction, the sickness and diseases will come when these entities start emerging. And really, actually, the ones that have been, as I told you, deep down in the subterranean parts of America have already been emerging. And you know how you know they're emerging? The animals are being affected. You might have heard of rabbits with black looking horns growing out of their head. You know, the little wild rabbits. Now they have these black horns. They're trying to call it some kind of sickness. But when you look at those pictures, it looks demonic, as if something demonic has overtaken the creatures. Even the deer are getting it in some of the Midwestern states. So it's already happening. What is happening, the Most High said, is darkness is emerging. And when I say darkness, I'm not just talking about spiritual darkness. I'm talking about entities are coming up from the dark abyss, from these caverns. You won't see them because most of them are going to be out at night. But they're affecting the earth. They're affecting the ground. And these animals are coming in contact with this, I would say, this dark matter that's coming from these creatures. And they're turning into these strange looking creatures. Go online, you will see it. Rabbits coming up with all kind of horns growing out, black bubbles, all kind of things growing out on their faces. Deer being affected. So it's already underway. And usually what happens, the animals experience it first. Okay, so next we're going to talk to you and remind you that the Medes and the Persians are already engaged. They're already called to battle, and they're already doing what they need to do. Now in the West, God is calling what? We told you in the last video, a cosmic army to destroy Babylon. Western Babylon, the one that America is connected to. So let's go on from there. And what the ones in the East are doing, and a lot of people say, what is going on? I'm gonna say this real quick. What is going on in like Israel? What is going on? You got the Judeo-Christians who are like, oh, well, what is going on? They're being mean to the Israel. The Israel's going to stand no matter what they do. No. You got it all wrong. In this hour, God has to take back Jerusalem and the land that was promised to his holy chosen people. He's got to clean it up. He said, what happens when roaches take over a house? At first you can spray it a little bit, put here and there. But then after a while you realize, oh, this job is too big. And so God has to totally annihilate and clean that place out. Now the Palestinians, how was God going to expose the fraudulent Jews to the world? He had to do it in a way where everyone could see it in real time. And as he said, God hates to see his devout one. It says it costs Yahweh dearly to see his devout ones killed. And the Palestinians, unfortunately, they are, being destroyed by these people. But that was the one way God had to show what these people were ruling in Israel. They were the synagogue of Satan, as Revelation says they are. No one can doubt it now. No nation, no country who has any kind of mind or heart can doubt it. So it had to be done. But in the end, these devout ones who were standing for God with what they had, they will be rewarded. Okay, so you have to watch my other videos to understand that bigger part of that. Now, let's get back to America and what's going on and what's going to happen. We want to keep you updated. Okay, so, and just as I read to you, it's going to be brought down by a hand that's more than human, right? And as we told you in the last video, God has summoned a cosmic army. And so you would say, well, wait a minute, hey, why would he call, if they're evil entities and things, why would he call them to destroy America? Well, God has used the ancient pagans many times to discipline his children and bring down other enemy kingdoms. So that's nothing new, because he knows he's going to eventually destroy them too. But he's just using them. And I feel like really he's also doing it because he doesn't want, like I just said, America to say, well, look over there. Those people came and destroyed America. Look, we're going to go and bomb them. No, he wants this thing to be contained. He wants this thing to be contained. And that was one of the reasons he allowed Trump to get in there. It wasn't because, the Democrats and Republicans are better than Democrats. All of them was evil. They were the two heads of one snake, right? But they had different ways of carrying out Satan's agenda. One wanted to spread perversion, homosexuality, deviant behavior all over the world. And that's what America, Babylon had been doing for years. But it revved up in the last few years. Did you notice it got really revved up? And they were pushing it on the Africans, and the Africans like, no, we ain't having that stuff over here, because they knew their time was running out. Satan knew his time was running out. So he had to really work hard. But the other group Republicans, they work in trying to destroy prepare a place and destroy things, the people, for a different way. Their way is through arms. We bomb you. If you don't let us come in and set up, our bases and make red light districts, and where you got massage parlors and all kind of things going on, we'll bomb you. Okay, so each one of them had their own way, but they were carrying out the same agenda. So the Most High allowed the so-called Republicans to get in there to contain everything. Contain it. Stop the push of perversion, but contain it so that everything will start flipping upon itself and imploding from the inside. Right? That's the way it usually happens to the pagan kingdoms. Rome, all of them, eventually, because of filthiness, unrighteousness, moral decay, oppression, they just self-destructed more or less, right? So that's what's going to happen. But this time he's going to have a little aid come in. He's bringing in these cosmic players to bring them down, because they worship and serve these evil, wicked, fallen angel hybrids, chimeras, satyrs, and they basically let them have a free hand in America. Let them abuse the citizens of America behind the scenes. Many people have been died, missing, all kind of things been going on because the higher ups allowed it to go on. So God said, okay, I'm gonna let the very people that you looked at and thought they were so intelligent, these hybrid creatures and their little technologies, and you sold wholesale your people into their hands, I'm gonna let them come back and destroy your little house, right? That's what it's all about. If you don't understand, that's what it's all about. Okay. So next we're going to talk to you about how this has been set up for you. And in 2023, there were some things going on that we didn't pay attention. Some of us paid attention to, but we didn't pay attention to very much. And that was about these towers. And if you remember, in October 4th, 2023, they said they conducted a nationwide test, a wireless emergency alert system called the WEA, W-E-A, that's what it stands for, and the EAS for TVs and radios. And FEMA took part in the FCC. You probably remember that, don't you? Yes, you do. Sent out a message across the country so that they would have a warning for the public in case of a national emergency. So you had to leave your phones on, and you had to leave them on for 30 minutes or more to get whatever they were doing to your phone set up, right? I was suspicious about it. I'm suspicious anyway. But I was thinking, now something doesn't smell right. It's just not passing the smell test. And here's what the Most High told me. He said, when 3i Atlas arrives, the cell phone system will be used to integrate a nationwide alert, right? So that all citizens will simultaneously get an emergency notification. And it will be used for other applications. In other words, as this thing rolls out, your phone is going to be used for other applications. As this 3i Atlas and its hybrids come in, your phone is going to be used for even a more deeper, sinister activities. So I'm going to try to keep you updated on that, but that's what's coming, and that's why that was rolled out. Because really, we already had sort of like an emergency system, remember? Each state had their own emergency system. But this thing was in a hurry. We got to do this quick. We got to get this emergency system rolled out. Why? Because they knew what was going to happen is these hybrids, fallen angel hybrids would be coming in, and they had to make everything ready and prepared. And I'll tell you another thing. If you have been hearing also, they're having these congressional hearings about the aliens, and they really pushing it this time. Used to, they just be trying to hide it. People years ago, they'd be sitting up in these hearings like, well, we are not sure if they're really aliens, and we don't really have a lot of information, and we sometimes we think they're weather balloons. But now, all of a sudden in the congressional hearings, everybody's just popping the cap, the cork, and spilling everything. Why are they telling the truth in this last hour? Because I believe they want to absolve themselves of guilt for selling their people wholesale. They want to act innocent so that when it does happen and the people really understand, now this is real, this is the real deal, this is not a fake, this is real. It'll be easier to control the people if, oh, we didn't know either. We're on your side. We didn't know anything. We just started realizing at the last minute that's a lie, and the lie detector determined that was a lie, right? Okay, and that's neither here nor there, because everyone is going to suffer basically that lives in America because of what's coming, right? And what's already emerging up out of the dark abyss. And like I told you, in Nevada, this has been going on since 2023. You had that for years down in the mountains and stuff. But this emergence where they feel like, okay, it's time. We tired of being in the back shadows of America's glory. We get none. They get all the glory for all of our inventions. We trading with them. But here it is. We still ain't got nobody saying, "Hail Chief," right? So they are ready, and they've already informed the CIA and all these others that they are going to do this. And so it's nothing new. So everybody's sort of trying to line it up, sort of act like it's sort of like a surprise, right? It's a surprise. All right. So like I just said, also this flesh-eating bacteria is all of a sudden coming in different states. All of these things are from the darkness emerging. And we're talking about, like I said, real creatures that you don't see yet. They're not making their presence known, but because they are on the land, walking and coming out, they're contaminating the land with all kind of bacteriums, and these animals are picking it up. And that's why you're seeing all of this stuff happening in the news. You can look some of those things up. They even had something the other day, said some amphibious creatures that they had never seen before crawling up, very toxic, very poisonous. Where are these creatures coming from? It is an expression, a reaction from these dark entities that have been hiding and kept deep down in the earth, but now they're emerging because their time has come. Okay. So I want to keep you up to date on these things, what Yahweh Most High is giving me, because he wants you prepared. Trauma comes when something happens that we are not prepared for. Our mind and our spirit and our psyche was not prepared for. So it's like someone hits you and you don't know it's coming. So it leaves a indelible mark on your mind and your spirit. Well, God is trying to prepare you, those of you who are going to stay in America, for what's about to emerge and what's about to happen. So he can give you time to either flee, like he said, or it can give you time to sort of clear your mind, get accustomed to the idea of seeing things that you've never seen before, and perhaps have, maybe needing to take that control over your own emotions so that you won't be so affected in such a negative way. All right. So I'm going to keep bringing these videos about whatever God Yahweh is sharing with me, and just keep tuned in and try your best to share these videos, because no one really is talking about this. People are talking about different things, 3-eye atlas and what it is or might be, but nobody's talking about what's coming and what God knows and has ordained and allowed these creatures and hybrids to do once they arrive. This is for you, his chosen people, and you must share it with family and friends so that they will also be prepared. I thank you for joining me. Be blessed.